Hello and welcome to IMAGE The Motherload, the podcast for mums who work inside and outside the home. I'm your host, Dominique McMullan. I'm IMAGE Media's editorial director and most importantly, mum of 2 young boys. Each week, I am joined by a guest to talk about the realities of modern motherhood and to hopefully leave you feeling a little less alone. You can think of us as part of your village because we are here to lighten the load. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank the brands that make IMAGE The Motherload possible. We are powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Liffey Valley, Avoca, Revive Active, Optimal Advanced and Tigers Childcare. I'm not going to lie, I am pretty excited about our guest this week. I am being joined by Coleen Rooney. Coleen is a woman that many of us will feel like we already know. She is a mother of 4, a successful businesswoman, and a woman who's navigated life under public scrutiny with remarkable dignity. She is of Irish descent and yes, married to Wayne Rooney, but Coleen has carved her own path and created her own identity over the years, one that is deeply grounded and family orientated. We're going to be talking about that today and about how motherhood has meant so much to her and about who she is now in this chapter of her life. I've been looking forward to this one. Let's get into it. So welcome, Coleen Rooney.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here. It's nice to be here in Manchester.
I know, thanks for coming. Yeah. It was an early start, wasn't it?
It was. It was all right. I'm used to it with the kids.
Yeah.
So I like to get started each chat by getting kind of an overview of where you are in your motherhood journey right now, what ages and stages your 4 boys are at, and what kind of motherhood stage you're at yourself as well.
Yeah, so my eldest is 16. And then I've got a 12-year-old who will be 13 this year, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Okay.
So I'm out of that baby stage. And then I've just got a whole scale of life that's going on in between. Yeah, they're just all at different stages. But no, it's good. It's chaotic. It's a madhouse. You don't know what you're going to get from hour to hour, never mind day to day. But yeah, they're all really lively and I've got strong personalities.
Okay.
I've not got a quiet child.
I can imagine. I've got 2 boys and I cannot imagine having double the amount. The chaos is real, I am sure. And there's a big difference between an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old as well. Do they all get on?
They love each other, but I wouldn't say they all get on.
Okay,
there's a lot of fights. There's a lot of like my 16-year-old will walk past the 8-year-old and just give him a little smack at the back of the head. Yeah. It's just they all wind each other up. It's like a domino effect. Like the oldest picks on the next one, the next one picks on the next one. Yeah, but no, they love each other. I'm just hoping when they all get that little bit older, they will be best friends.
I'm sure they will. Yeah. I'd love to go back a little bit or back a good bit to your parents who I hear so much about. They're such huge supporters of you. Tell us a little bit about them, about their personalities.
So my mum and dad met really young. So my mum was 18 when she married my dad, and my mum was a nursery nurse, my dad's a bricklayer. So my mum's always loved and wanted children, and then they got married and wanted a child straight away. However, my mum couldn't have children. She had fertility problems. So she tried for 7 years and had fertility treatment. And then I came along. So I was very wanted. And then my brothers just came along naturally. I've got 2 brothers. And yeah, that's all she ever wanted to do. So then when we were, I must have been about 12, she sat us down and said, me and dad have been thinking about fostering or doing respite care, just having children in every other weekend to give their parents a break. They was involved in like the church and in the local hospitals, taking children away to Lourdes and Euro Disney. It was a charity that they were involved in. So from that's where they thought about the respite and the fostering. So then they went on to we all said the more the merrier. We just always had a house full of family and friends, so it didn't matter to us. And then so we done respite first, and then they went on to fostering, and then we went on on to adopt my little sister.
Rosie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about Rosie. She sounded
So
amazing.
Rosie, yeah, she was amazing. She came to us when she was 18 months, and they said to us that it was going to be a long-term fostering because my mum had only ever done short-term, but hers was a different case, and she did have a brother and sister that went to another foster home, and then they went on to be adopted, and we still see her brother and sister. They've got lovely parents who are friends of my mum and dad's. So she came to us, and she never left. She stayed. We went on to adopt her. At the time she had development problems, and we thought it was because of the situation she was in at home. And my mum knew, because she'd worked with a lot of children with disabilities. She said there's something more than that, and she done her research, and obviously the hospital's done theirs, and she had Rett syndrome, which is a genetic disorder. So as she got older, things slowed down. So when she came to us, she could crawl, she could eat, she couldn't talk, but she'd say things that you would think like we could make out. However, that all stopped. So she was fed through a tube. She was in a wheelchair. She had less movement.
Yeah. So
yeah, but it was a really, big thing for my mum and dad to take on.
Absolutely.
Because she needed 24/7 care. But we wouldn't have had it any other way.
She was quite a little personality.
Oh yeah, she knew, like, even though she couldn't talk, she knew what was going on, and she ruled the roost. Like she got her own way. She had amazing eyes, and that is something that disorder, Rett syndrome is associated with. They have these amazing eyes, and she would talk through them, and she would laugh, and that was all that we needed. And she used to, if anyone hurt themselves, like fell over or tripped up, she'd just laugh her head off. So my dad would just throw himself all over the place just to get the laugh out of her. She used to think it was hilarious. But no, she was special.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry that she passed away.
Yeah, it was, obviously it was sooner than anyone would have liked, but she battled on for years, and she was, it was a sad period, but we had 14 great years with her.
And what a beautiful household it sounds like. Your mum and dad really sound special. To be doing that for children is really something.
Yeah, I think you've got to be a special kind of person to do that, and give up time to help others. But I think that's always been, the morals we've been brought up with is, to respect people, to help, to be kind, to have manners. And that's something that I try and instill in my children, and just give them a big outlook on life, because, my children are open to a lot of things, but we don't forget our roots. And, it's even with us, the way you looked, the way you acted, whether you could walk, you could talk, it was not strange to us, because we interacted with everyone from all walks of life, and that's what I try and do with my children. And I don't do what my mum and dad did, but we've still got friends, and my mum's still a social, so we all, my children are still connected to that.
It's so special. And your mum and dad obviously had created this really beautiful little environment for you all. Were you aware that was different? Were you kind of mothering the little kids as well? Were you involved?
Yeah, we had 3 newborn babies that we picked up from the hospital.
Wow.
Which was so hard to when time came when they left us.
Oh yeah.
But the message that my parents gave us was, we're giving them a good start in life, and they are going to parents that either can't have kids or, have difficulties. So they are going to be loved. And, and there was a little boy that came to us, And we still see him now. He's
Really?
18. Yeah.
Wow.
He babysits for my brother's kids. And, it was so nice when he got adopted that the parents said, will you still be in his life? Yeah. And my mum jumped at the chance because, so we still see him all the time.
That's
and
so special.
My kids, interact with, so it's special. Yeah.
Was it difficult for you as a kind of 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old saying goodbye to little babies? Was that hard?
Yeah, it was. But
you knew it was the right thing.
Yeah, the way my mum and dad went about it, it was, it was probably the most difficult one was the little boy because he was with us the longest.
Okay.
And it was sad, but obviously he's still in our life now. So it's nice.
Do you know, it also sounds, the picture of the household sounds very Irish. Yeah. And doing my research, I found you have Irish roots, your great granddad.
Yeah. So my dad's family were from Mayo. And I do think, the Liverpool Irish connection is massive. And even like I've got a lot of Irish friends and our households sound very similar. But it's I've visited Ireland quite a lot.
Do you have a favourite place?
Do you know, obviously I've been to Dublin, Mayo, where my dad's family are from. That was beautiful. And yeah, so obviously so different from each other.
Yeah. But also so similar. It's lovely. Yeah. And tell me, if you're around kids all the time, did you know then you wanted to have kids? Did you always want to be a mum?
Yeah, I've always had that instinct in me that and even, from a young age, I used to babysit me cousins. I've always loved children, so I knew. I always thought where you have a number in your head, I thought I'd have 3. I don't know whether that was because my mum had 3. Obviously with Rosie it was 4, but I always had 3. And then I think because I had mine quite young, once I had the 3rd one, I knew I wasn't finished. And then that's when I went on to have 4,
Don't they say when you know, you know?
Yeah. And I knew 4 was enough. But to be honest, it was weighing that, or I said, let's have another one. And when it got to 4, he was like, we're not having any more.
Oh yeah, he was done.
He was done as well. So I think,
that's good. Yeah. It's a lot of people, I think, aren't sure. And then they have the 3rd. And always after a 3rd, there seems to be a 4th.
Well, I think the biggest shock for me was going from 2 to 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that was because I think you're a bit outweighed, like there's more kids than the parents. And I think life, did get a bit more difficult to balance.
Yeah.
And then when I knew I had 3, I thought 4 is not going to be much different now.
Yeah.
I've done that hard step from going 2 to 3.
And you have all the K's and 1C.
Yeah.
All their names.
Yeah.
It's lovely. You had to make the set.
Yeah. Well, I think that when it came to Cass, obviously it sounds like it could be a K, but I knew I never longed for a girl. I love being a boy mum.
Yeah, me
Wayne
too.
probably would have liked a girl a bit more than me. But I thought, I'm going to put my little stamp on. So his initials are the same as my initials.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
I thought, if I'm not getting a girl, then I'll do something that, So that's why he was a C. And to be honest, it was the meaning of the name. When I looked at the meaning, Cass with a K, meant it was like blackbird or something, but with a C it meant clever.
Oh, that's nice.
So I thought I'd go on the meaning.
Clever's better than blackbird.
But his middle name is Mach, and then so that means son of, so it's clever son of Rooney. So I'm hoping he is the clever one out of all.
He's got high expectations there.
He's got to live up to his name.
So you started having kids pretty soon then, once you and Wayne got together. I know you didn't have the easiest first pregnancy, if that's okay to talk about.
Yeah, so not so much when, obviously we were together from when we were 16. So it was after we got married. That's when the kids come quite soon. But I had a miscarriage with my first pregnancy. No, it's fine. It's life. And I think the first time I spoke about it in public was when I was on the jungle, but that just came natural in conversation when I was in there, and I've wrote about it in the book. But it was difficult. It was a shock because I think you just think I'm gonna have children, but what struck me was when I had that miscarriage, I knew how my mum didn't have miscarriages. She just couldn't get pregnant.
Okay.
So I thought, I wonder if I will be able to have children. But then my mum said, well, at least you can get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's a positive.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't. So it was. And then, obviously you go through the process of the recovery. And then I got pregnant pretty quick afterwards. But yeah, it was hard. And I said that I think it affected way more than it affected me. And I don't know whether that was because everyone rallied around me and not him. And I think the males are forgotten about a lot when that happens. And it wasn't until later after it that he said, it really did, affect him.
Yeah, it's so true. Men are not thought of enough at all in those situations. And their loss is equally as big as your loss, really.
No, 100%. And I did go on, I had another one in between my second and third. And obviously I took that into account then that, he's, it's his loss as well, not just mine. So yeah, that was dealt with different that time round.
Did you get to talk to anyone about it, or how did you deal with it?
No, it was family, family. I think we just didn't realise, and it didn't come till later on that he spoke about it and how he felt at that time. And obviously he probably, if he recovers it himself, but the second time round, it was, we spoke about it out in the open and, obviously comforted each other, and it was different.
And it changes all subsequent pregnancies, doesn't it? The feeling of pregnancy, you can't, I don't know about you, but I couldn't relax after I had miscarriage.
Yes, after the second, obviously with Kai, the first pregnancy after the miscarriage, it was like walking on eggshell, every scan that you went to. I think once you get to further on, I was, more comfortable and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think the second time round, knowing that I had 2 children, I just felt lucky that I did have 2 children, and whether I could have any more or not, that was just, a privilege that I could. But it is, it's hard, especially women that must, do have multiple and then get pregnant. That must be, a nerve-wracking moment when you are going further and further into that pregnancy.
Yeah. I also think when you already have the kids, you're more aware of the loss, of what it is that you're losing.
Yeah.
There's a different kind of understanding of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Which can change it. And you've said then you had your 4th and you knew you were done. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so talk to me about 4 boys. Because as I said, I've got 2 boys in my house and it is definitely chaotic.
Yeah.
But I want to know about the day-to-day realities and also about how organised you are, because everybody tells me you're the most organised person.
That is how I get through life, is just organisation. Yeah. I have a paper diary. I don't do it on my paper diary. That is my life, and just notes coming out, everywhere.
Wow.
I literally organise everyone's schedule in the house, and I think to me, a paper, writing things down, it sticks in my head more than typing or on my phone. And it goes back to probably when I was at school, when I was revising. All I used to do was just write things out time and time again.
Were you like a studious kind of nerdy girl in school?
I wouldn't say I was nerdy, no. I had really popular friends, like my friends. Okay. However, I had another group of friends who was my set 1 friends, because I was, I wasn't naturally intelligent. I had to work at it.
Oh yeah.
Sure, I had my brother, he was more, he wouldn't revise, but he'd do well. I had to revise. I had to work hard.
Me too.
And it's like now Wayne says certain things and he goes, I thought you were really intelligent in school and you got the grades. I said, no, it didn't come natural. It was, I had to work at it. Like spellings and stuff. If the kids say, how do you spell this? he's quite intelligent, and he will just set, whereas I have to like think about things. Yeah. And he goes, I thought, yeah, you got an A in English. And
I can't imagine doing a homework now with a 16. That must be tough.
No, I can't.
I struggle with my 6-year-old homework.
No, to be honest, I don't. He's quite good. He will get on with it himself.
Are you kind of up in the morning, and is it like
I'm
bam,
a morning
bam?
person. So I get up 6 o'clock. I get a shower straight away, get dressed. I go in to my eldest at 6:30, wake him up. And then the other 3 7:15. And then, it's breakfast. They all have different breakfasts. So it's not, and I have friends that say, why don't you just put cereal out on the side and just let them have to help themselves? However, I like to know that they've gone out with a full stomach with something that they actually wanted, because if they don't like the lunch in school, at least they've had something in the morning. That
so you're like cooking to order. What are you making for them?
They have we have steak, we have bacon, we have pancakes, I have got one who will like mostly have cereal. He's the fussy, he's quite plain, he eats quite plain. We got wide toasties, there's a lot of different things on the menu.
It's quite something.
My 10-year-old loves it. People will say, oh, that's quite extreme, but if that's, it's healthy, it eats well. Right. Yeah. So steak and eggs some days.
You're dead right. Get it into them. Yeah. If I can get steak in to either of my kids, I'd be putting it in first thing.
He is the one. He is a good eater. My 10-year-old, he eats everything. He loves his food. Yeah.
That's great. That's hard to get them to that point.
Yeah. So like my 12-year-old, he's quite plain, like pasta and chicken and stuff. So I do love the fact that I've got one where my eldest is quite good. He's good as well. He likes everything.
We're entirely beige household, like plain rice, plain pasta, plain everything.
Well, when we do, there's certain places when we go, we go to places and I just know it's a safe bet just to get, pasta and whatever. But then if we have ours, then the 10-year-old's like, oh, I'll have some of that. So he ends up swapping. Yeah.
The dream. The dream.
It is. It's nice.
What do people underestimate about 4 boys?
The attention.
Oh, really?
Mine, that's why I didn't go on to have any more kids. I can look after a whole load of kids, but giving them attention is hard. And I like to, individually give my kids attention. So I've always done, like in the summer holidays, I'll take them all somewhere, but just one-on-one, whether they want to take a friend with them or not. I like to give them that individual attention because it's hard in the household to do that. And I would say, that's the most, they all want the attention, but it's so difficult to give it to them.
Yeah, with 4 especially. Yeah. I do day dates sometimes with the boys. To bring them for breakfast or whatever.
No,
and
it's nice.
So nice.
And they love it. It's like if I've just got one of them, I can actually speak to them without someone throwing a ball at their head or, them arguing. And it is, I think it's important to do that.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear there's balls being thrown around. And,
we've had a few smashed tellies and a few, we're now in the playroom, we've got a plastic screen over the TV.
Smart.
Because it's been broke quite a few times. So
that's smart.
If anything gets thrown, it bounces off the plastic screen.
It's just so physical, isn't it? It's just boys in a house. It's so physical. Like I don't know about you, I spent like the last couple of years on the floor getting elbows and wherever and you're rolling around. Yeah. As a mum, the reality is you spend a lot of time in the car, whether that's juggling work or the kids or some combination of both. And you need a car that is going to make life easier. Recently, the Image mums and I test drove the Peugeot 3008 and 5008, and we were genuinely so impressed. They are spacious with room for buggies and sports gear and everything else you can think of, and full of really innovative tech too. The 3008 SUV is the perfect mix of style and practicality, and the 5008 has extra room, including 7 seats if you need it. So whether you've got babies or toddlers or teens, Peugeot has thought of everything. Because when life gets busy, you need a car that's going to keep up, and Peugeot gets it. Let's get back to the show. I want to hear about social media and the internet and how you manage that, because again, with my boys moving up, I can see that coming for them. Social media, having smartphones. How have you dealt with that?
Yeah, like obviously personality wise, and the child, going back to treating them individual, they've all got different ways, different characters, how they go about life, whether they're sensible, whether they're not.
Yeah.
My eldest, he used to get the school, well, he still gets school bus. So he did get a phone earlier than the others, because he got on that bus every morning on his own. Obviously, when he got to school, he handed it in. But I do think you treat the children different to how they react.
Yeah.
Obviously, having a 16-year-old now, social media is hard to stop.
Yeah.
And I've never had to stop, but I have had to have talks.
Okay.
I'm quite lucky because he plays football and is part of an academy.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of workshops. They have people they talk to.
That's great.
That come in and explain the price of social media if it goes wrong. Obviously, there's clever ways to work social media. And I think this day and age, it's going to be hard to stop them from having it. Obviously, school's brilliant. School do talks and stuff.
Yeah. How
How much do you listen? I don't know. And yeah, I think you've just got to no one can manage it the same because you've got different children. So I think you can't listen to her mum in the playground how she does it, because you haven't got her children and you haven't got her morals in life.
Yeah.
I think it's every mum has got to adapt it how they want to do it. So yeah, I just think I do it the way I do it. I might get it wrong now and again, but you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really smart way of thinking about it, because you could have, like, I know my eldest is not going to do well on social media. You just tell.
Yeah.
Whereas my youngest, I'm pretty sure he'd be fine.
Yeah.
He kind of, you can tell he wouldn't really care. So it really is individual.
I think you've just got to, they've got to be, whether, you can see it in two ways, whether they're going to use it in the right way and they're quite switched on, they're quite intelligent, but you've got to then think, can they handle, are they sensitive?
Yeah.
So you've got to weigh up all them points.
Yeah. When you talk about this, like mothering in the public eye is kind of part of this, how does that feel for you? What's that experience like? I mean, that must be really hard. I can't imagine.
There's days where I think I'm quite lucky, because I've been through, the whole, social media, living in the public eye. I've done it from a young age.
Yeah.
So I can pass on things to my kids that other people can't.
Of course.
How to deal with, backlash, how to deal with people commenting, because I've been through that. So I am in a better position. However, people think they know you, and there's been certain times where I remember when I was living in America, and I had to, everywhere I went, didn't have any help, didn't have family around. Wayne was away working, he'd go to a match but be gone for like 4 days because it was the other side of America. So I remember going to a football tournament and I was there for the whole day, and I plotted up, I had, picnic blankets and the kids, a cooler bag. Cass must have been 7 months old.
Wow.
And the two others were underneath umbrellas with iPads. And I took a picture and I put it on social media.
Oh, no.
Well, why are you letting your children on iPads? Why are you? Actually, one of them was on doing his maths homework. Not that I had to explain myself, but you get all these people, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Well, it's my way. This is how I want to do it, and I can do it that way. There's no, right or wrong, or whatever, you think is right for your family, you do it that way.
Absolutely.
I'm quite lucky that I am headstrong and I can brush that off. And again, I think that's from being in the spotlight from a young age.
You're used to it. I'm
used to it, yeah. But now I don't think, there's times where people could step in where if something's going terribly wrong and in a situation, but I've never had that. But no, I just don't think. I think look at yourself first before you comment on anyone else.
It's good advice for life.
Perfect.
Yeah, good advice for life generally. There's you on the picnic blanket being incredible, having 3 kids, you know.
4, well, one was playing football and having to have them there for hours on end. It was a football tour. You know, you've got to do something.
To do what you got to do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all just trying to do our best. Yeah. Talk to me about mum guilt. I mean, you're kind of near the territory there. I am on a campaign to ban the expression mum guilt. I'm like, I don't think any mum should feel guilty about anything.
No.
Do you ever feel guilty, and how do you deal with it if you do?
No, I don't. I don't feel
Amen.
guilty. Yeah, I think, you know, if there's something that, you know, you can't attend because you've got something, or there's something that you can't do for them, then make it up in other ways. It's, you know, you just can't do it at that time. So move on. And then, you know, if you can't be at a sports day, you know, try and plan that you can be at the next one. But, you know, you know, my life has been great because I was in a situation where I could be a mum. You know, financially, I didn't have to work. I was, you know, however, I've got friends that would rather work and not be a stay-at-home mum. So everyone's different, but I wanted to be there day in, day out for the kids, you know. And don't get me wrong, there was some days where I think, why aren't I working, or why aren't I? But then, you know, there'd be weekends where me and Wayne would get away, and then you'd have, you know, you'd refresh, you'd get yourself back together, and then you go back and love her again. But no, I wouldn't say guilty, because there's nothing, you're doing your best. There's nothing you can do about it. And then I would, try and make it up, whatever I've not done in other ways.
Yeah. Amen. Don't feel guilty. It's a waste of time. Yeah. What about days where you feel kind of a bit stretched too thin? What do you do on those days? How do you look after yourself? Me too.
I'm not. There's certain days where, you know, I've been in queues in McDonalds and the kids carrying on, and I will shout, and I do that thing that my dad used to do to us. I don't care who's looking. I don't care who's. You shouldn't be doing that. So I'll shout if I want to shout. And the kid's like, Mom, don't shout. It's like, oh, you don't want me to shout now?
Oh, yeah. Well, then you shouldn't have been messing.
I used to hate when my dad used to do that, but now I do it. But now I always have things to look forward to in the diary. So, you know, we will go away for you know, a few days or a day or a night, or go out. So, you know, I think, do you know what? It's, you know, I've got this at the weekend, and let's get through the day. I don't dwell on things. I move on quite quick. I'm not a worrier. I'm not a overthinker. So I think that helps, that you just think, I'm in this moment now, but, you know, it's fine. And I've always been one to think, there's worse people off than me. You know, my kids doing this, but you know what? There's people that are in worse situations than me. Get over it. Get on with it, Coleen. Yeah.
I love that. Get on with it. Yeah. And do you guys have like a scheduled date night that you do each week, or is this just, it happens when it happens?
When Wayne was working, you know, we would, because there was more of a schedule in our life then. Now it's just, we just do it, you know, whether it be, it's not, I wouldn't say weekly now. It's probably, just whenever we've got some free time and we can get a babysitter, or my mum can come and help. But no, we have got a good balance with social and, you know, family life. We've got good friends who, you know, will, you know, invite us round, or we'll, you know, we'll make a date in the diary to go to a concert, or you know, or just the two of us.
Lovely. So important.
It's so important.
And hard to do sometimes. What does contentment look like for you now, and how has that changed over the last few years?
I think just contentment, home with just everyone who we love, and that was a big thing for me, that when I moved to America, I took that for granted. There was a lot of things that I came back from America thinking, you know, I'm never going to take that for granted again. You know, not having close ones near me. I really struggled out there because I'd literally, I've only ever moved an hour away from my parents.
Yeah.
To go all that way and not have anyone close by. I just thought I'm never taking that for granted again. So yeah, I just think, everyone in the house together. If I could have picked them up and been there with me, then life would have been a whole different story, and we could have been in America for years and years, but I didn't. So that's why I was desperate to come back. Yeah.
You're a real home girl.
Yeah.
How long were you in America for?
Only a year. It was meant to be. Wayne was there before us, but I waited for the school year to finish. And then we went over, and I planned on being there for 2 years to come back for Kai to start a secondary school. And Wayne would have done longer. However, we, after a year of being there, Wayne 2 years, he got offered a different job back home.
Okay.
So we came back. Yeah. I think after the first year, I prepared myself for the second year. So the second year wasn't going to be as bad because I'd found my feet, the kids were in school, they have friends, and but I was happy to come home.
Yeah. I'd say your mum and dad were delighted as well. Yeah. What about outside of motherhood? What kind of lights you up? What do you love working on? What projects are you working on?
So at the minute, I've got quite a few things going on, but
sure.
obviously the main one that I'm here to speak about is Primark. I am bringing out a clothing range for Primark.
Gorgeous.
Which is amazing. I think I've got so many connections to Primark, coming from, a working class down to earth family, having, a lot of friends that, are into fashion, but affordable fashion. And still to this day, I love, finding a good buy at a good price but good quality. So that has been my, the meaning behind the whole, the collaboration with Primark. And, it's been great. It's a great team. Got to go to Ireland a few times. And it's been amazing. So I'm really excited for everyone to see, because it's been in the pipeline for so long. I just want it out there. Yeah.
It's such a gorgeous collection. It's really classic, the pieces. They're really wearable, classic pieces that you can mix and match. And I love the colour palette as well, the browns and the greens.
Yes.
Talk to me a bit about your personal style, because you always look so polished and put together. You do.
Thank you, but I don't.
It's something we talk about a lot though, about trying to feel like put together but comfortable, confident, like yourself, especially when you're like, reality is often getting dressed in the dark as someone shouts for their breakfast or whatever it is. How do you kind of see your personal style? And
I would say, daily it is comfortable. It's, it's what I need to, obviously I'm on the go all the time. So it's stuff that practical, or, stuff that I can wash and wash again, because I'm wearing it time and time again. But then I do love getting dressed up for a night out. So I've always said I love the balance of, being really casual and, don't get me wrong, I would love to get out of bed and look immaculate every morning on the school run, but it's just not, it's not me. It's not how my life goes. And I do sometimes turn up at the school if I've been to a work event or something, and the mums go, "Oh, you look nice." I think, because every day I'm in my gym stuff or my hairs, or they'll say, "Oh yeah, have you done something different to your hair?" No, I've just washed it.
That's so good to hear.
But I am super casual daily, but then I love the whole process of going on a night out and getting my hair done, putting something really lovely on, and the most nicest thing is when your kids realise and they say, "Oh, you look nice, Mum." Now and again I do get that and I think, "Oh, that's actually nice." But it's I love fashion. I love my clothes. I always have from a little girl. I was never really a doll person. I was always, a fashion wheel girl, or can I get, the latest trainers or, coat out. I would save up or pocket money or money that I got to go shopping. And one of my earliest memories is we were in Ireland, and I went to a Penny's, and there was every time I used to go away on it was in the summer, so it was like a summer holiday. I used to bring something back for my friends, whether it be a key ring or a bookmark or, you know, something little. And there was slippers on sale. I think they were like £2.50 in pennies. So I brought all the girls a pair of slippers. I couldn't believe the price of them. And yeah, I just loved clothes as a child. So this is like a dream come true. Obviously, I've worked with different fashion places before, but I think this is a big one for me.
It's almost like a coming home kind of moment for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, really special. What's something that you kind of feel like people misunderstand about you as a mum, especially, that you'd like people to understand now?
Not so much understand, but I think people are quite shocked at how hands-on I am.
Yeah.
I think people think I've got a whole team around me that, you know, do, you know, all the childcare and stuff. I do have, you know, a lady that helps me one day a week. And then my mum and dad are brilliant. And I've got, you know, my brothers that help out and stuff. But I like to do it myself. And my mum would say, oh, you know, she'll come and fix it if I've done something. And my mum's quite a perfectionist, and I think that's where I get my organisation skills from.
Okay.
But if she puts the uniforms out for the next day while I've been working, I'll come home and I'll rearrange them and I'll do it my way. And she'll roll her eyes at Wayne and go, there she goes. Yeah. But no, I would say how hands-on people are shocked at how hands-on. And even like, you know, mums over the years that I've got to know at the school, you know, I am at every football match. I am at every, you know, there was a point where I had a double buggy and a deck chair over me, you know, back, and I would, no matter what, I'd be there. And that's not because I've got to. I could have a team full of nannies. It's because I want to.
They're lucky to have you.
I tell them that.
What about values as a mom? Are there kind of values that you're hoping you're imparting on the boys?
Yeah, I think, you know, you do see them now and again. I don't always see them, but what I love is feedback off other people. Because, you know, as long as they leave my house and they've got manners and respect and are kind, then, you know, I'm fine. Obviously, I would like that in the house, but it doesn't always happen. But I, you know, just getting messages. I got a message yesterday off my eldest has a tutor at the youngest one school. They don't go to the same school, but she's not his teacher, so they don't know each other. But she was messaging me over the time for the tutoring session, and she said, and by the way, I just want to let you know that when your littlest comes in the dinner hall when I'm on duty, he always takes his tray up and says thank you. And I just thought, oh, do you know what? That's nice. You would expect the children to do that anyway, but they mustn't. And it was nice to hear. And there's little things over the years where I just, you know, where they've helped others, or I always say the story about one of mine, me 12-year-old. He's at a football academy. It's a mix of kids from all different backgrounds, and we were going to Spain to watch a football game for half term, and the coach said, "Oh, right, boys, I wasn't there, and anyone doing anything good for the half term?" And he didn't say anything. And as they were walking off the pitch, the coach said, "Oh, Clay, what are you doing anything?" And he was one-on-one. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to the Barcelona Real Madrid game." He's like, "Oh, that's amazing. Like, you know, hey kids, guess where Clay's going?" And Clay went, No, please don't say. And he said, "Why?" He said, "No, because they mightn't be doing anything for half term and I don't want them." So when I had parents' evening for the football, the coach said, what I love is how respectful he is, you know, and how kind he is to the other boys. And he told me that story. And I thought, you know what, that's special. That's nice, because my kids are privileged in certain ways, but they are grounded. Yeah. And it's nice to hear.
God, it's like job done as a mum. If you feel like...
I hope that continues. We've got a lot more years to
go. More work to do. Yeah. That's really lovely to hear that. That's all I ever want for my boys. Sound kids, you know, who people like, who are kind and respectful. Yeah. What is your favourite part of being a mum?
I actually like the chaos. I do like a mad busy house. I think mine, growing up, it reminds me of mine. The only difference is ours was chaos, where we lived close to family and friends. People would call in all the time, and we don't get that very often because we live a bit further away, and if people are coming up, it's more planned. And but we do, you know, my mum and dad are always around, my brothers, but we're having 4 kids and us, we get that anyway. You know, it is chaotic, and they have friends round, and they're here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, I do enjoy the chaos.
And has motherhood changed you, do you think, then? If has that always been part of you, or are you different now?
No, I think it opens your eyes a bit, you know, as you know, how you handle things. And I think it makes you respect your parents a lot more.
So much.
Because, you know, the things that you used to think were so little and minor actually aren't the big things. But yeah, I just hope that, you know, I have that relationship with my kids that I've got with my mum and dad. And, you know, it's, you go through waves where you think you might, you know, obviously having a 16-year-old, sometimes you think, oh, am I losing this a bit now because he's getting older? But then, you know, the little things then remind you and think, no, I've still got him, you know. And you go through stages, I remember, where you think you're older than you are, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Yeah. But it's not always brighter, you know, on the other side. So I think knowing that you've provided a home where, you know, they can always come back no matter what, I think that's nice for them to know.
It's so important. Do you feel that with Kai now? Is he getting older? And
yeah, Kai's always been old character. Yeah, he and it's exciting, you know, the next step in his life. And, you know, he's doing his GCSEs this year. He is, you know, in really good position of football. And so he's going to be mixing with a lot of older, you know, people in the next couple of years. So he will want to be that
old guy
and go that next step. But, you know, we'll support him and, you know, try and manage his decisions. But, you know, I was 16 when I met Wayne. So sometimes I have to think about that, what I say, because he does, you know, he'll come back with comments and say, well, yeah, you were. I think, oh, yeah, we was actually, yeah, you're young.
That's the whole thing, do what I say and not what I do, isn't it? Yeah. My last question, Coleen, is with the boys watching you navigate the world, what do you hope that they're learning watching you?
That you can do anything, no matter what. You know, I didn't picture myself doing what I'm doing now as a child. And, you know, and also I think being real gets you a long way. You know, that's something I've always been myself. You know, there's been times where I've questioned that and thought, do I need to do a little bit more, or do I need to act? And I can't do it. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be fake. So I think just be yourself and tell the truth, and it gets you far.
Coleen Rooney, thank you so much for joining us on the Motherload. And that is it. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please do all of the things, like, follow, subscribe, 5 stars, or even better, tell a friend about us. It helps us reach new listeners. If you would like to experience the Motherload IRL, we have lots of events coming up this year. Just go and visit image.ie to see the full calendar. Thank you, as always, to the brands that make the Motherload possible. Image The Motherload is powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Liffey Valley, Avoca, Revive Active, Optimal Advanced and Tigers Childcare. Thank you to you for listening. Look after yourself this week, and I'll chat to you soon.